back tonight.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call to order the special meeting of the Haslett City Council on Monday, August 11th, 2025 at 7 p.m. for the purpose of public hearing on the FY 25-26 proposed budget. You bow your heads with me, I'll offer invocation, and then stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for your guidance, for your love. We ask that your blessings continue, your guidance continue. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3, citizen participation and comments. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Is there anybody online?
There is nobody online.
There is nobody? All right. Let's go to item 4, public hearing, ordinances, resolution, and action items. 4A is hold a public hearing on the proposed City of Haslett operating budget for fiscal year 2025 to 2026. If you go ahead and show that presentation. There will be two aspects presented this evening. One is the budget officer's proposed budget, and the other is the budget workshop. What you're looking at is just the structure of the budget for those who have the budget or downloaded it to understand how they're broken out into various funds. Next slide. And under each major funding category are the various line items, subcategories associated with it. Next item. Employee growth. From 2021 or 2020-2021 to the proposed year, we have grown employees by 207%. In 2021, we were at 28. This budget has 4 new employees associated with it, and that'll take us to a total employee position count of 58. Been a significant growth. Next item. Just an overview by department. Public Works has grown significantly. The 2 major growth departments have been Public Works and the Fire Department. Of course, Parks as well. And there have been additional employees added to various other departments. IT has gone to 0. That was a full-time. That was a city employee, but IT is now, that was for the purpose of running audio video, and we welcome aboard Datamax for that. Next item. This is a general fund. The proposed budget. This is the proposed budget expenditures or revenues and expenditures from 2021 to 25-26 proposed. Our revenues, operating revenues, have grown by over approximately $3 million from 2020-21 to present. Our anticipated $10,741,000 to the expenditures, though, have increased at a higher rate. The revenues have increased at 141%, while our expenditures have increased 210%. as our city develops, population grows, businesses come in and develop, it puts a higher demand on our infrastructure, which has been addressed, and that accounts for those increased expenditures. But also the expenditures also include the employee growth and other items associated with employee growth. Next item. This is a proposed workshop. Out of the workshop, proposal was made to increase between benefits and salaries, to increase benefits and salaries by $1.5 million. As you can see, that would be closing down that delta between expenditures and revenues. And going back to the previous slide, I think you can just roll your mouse back. There you are. As the delta between these two is what builds our reserve. It contributes over time, over the years. Going back, okay, go forward. This proposed benefits and salary increase is taken out of the reserve. The tax increase to sustain this expenditure is 24.02%. The corresponding tax rate associated with that would be from the proposed, or actually proposed adopted, of 29 cents nominal on the 100 to 39 cents nominal on the 100 to generate the $1.5 million annually. That would be an annual increase. Did you want to say anything to that?
The point the mayor's making is that our tax rate is made up of an M&O rate and the INS rate, which is for debt. And the M&O rate, if you put this $1.5 million into salaries, which is where that portion of the rate funds salaries, then each year you've got this recurring at that same level. And at that same level, it doesn't include any additional rate increases for wages or any new personnel and their increases, or any increases to their benefits, which we see increases most likely in insurance and other benefits, the dental and medical and that type of thing. And so when you add a capital project, the difference is it comes out of the reserve and it's a one-time project. It doesn't keep recurring as you move along through the years. So what this chart is showing is the effect of that. If you close that gap between your revenues and expenditures, it's going to have an effect long term.
It has been determined that without the tax rate increase to sustain the $1.5 million, that in less than 2 years, these lines cross. The expenditure and operating revenues cross, and then we start going negative. That is the difficulty. Next slide. Let me go back to two slides. Go back to 2 slides. An importance of this delta here, the revenue versus expenditure, that builds the reserve up in your budget book. On the general fund summary at the very bottom, it says reserve. What do we use that reserve for over time, and as in this budget, is we use that reserve money to pay for capital projects. these capital projects, and that decreases the amount of money that we would have to borrow. That is the purpose of it. That's how we utilize those funds, and historically have always utilized those funds. Okay, go to the next. There, okay, no one. Right there. When these lines cross, that reserve diminishes in less than 2 years. And any capital project without a tax rate increase and tax, bottom line, increasing tax revenue. And the only place that we can sustain from, okay, describe where when we say increased tax, why does this necessitate a tax rate increase? And we're talking very specifically ad valorem. Why is that?
When your valuations go up, the valuations we get from the county, what we've been experiencing is a lot of new construction. So each year, we've had that benefit of new construction and adds to the valuation. There's an inverse relationship between that valuation and the tax rate. So every time your revenue or your valuations are up, they calculate the no new revenue rate, which is what you have the year before, and then they add new construction to get you to the voter approval rate. So as our construction builds out and we have our value starts to stabilize, then our tax rate's going to be flat. And any other change in the revenue or into the valuation is going to be factored in, and your rate will get lower and lower. The danger of that is, in looking out, in addition to all the growth we've experienced on that good side, is now we have all these new streets and roads and infrastructure and things we have to take care of going forward. So right now, you're looking at a 1-year budget, and you're not looking at in the future when those streets start deteriorating, things have to be repaired, and there's nothing built in here. The only other avenue you have really for street repair is either a debt issue or the street maintenance sales tax, which we can't necessarily count on the voters to renew that all the time. So your opportunities to fund things it gets more constricted.
So I'm more specifically, why is ad valorem relied upon to fund the M&O side of city operations?
M&O is to cover those things that always recur. Your staff, repair of equipment, excuse me, things like that. And the council can control that by the rate that they approve. The other revenues, we can't count on those, so we don't rely on those to fund these types of items. You can't count on sales tax, which we expect to level off again. You can't expect it to generate enough money to continually sustain that. So you have to keep up with your tax rate to be able to sustain. And as we know, prices go up, wages go up, and it will become tighter and tighter. When we were back in 2016, everything pretty much was flat. Sales tax was flat. We didn't have any growth. We didn't have any opportunity. And once we started having that additional growth, the council had made the decision to move up the tax rate, go up to the 7.99% to try to build in those future operations. If you put this additional $1.5 million in all at once, then the mayor has shown you what the effect will be.
The other aspect, and I think my question is more at sales tax, fines, permits, all the other type of revenues that we have are not reliable. The only reliable source of revenue that we have is property tax. Someone's going to pay that property tax. Economies fluctuate. Property taxes are always paid. That's why it would necessitate an increase in property tax to sustain salaries, benefits, et cetera, the operation and maintenance side of the city's budget. All right, next slide. These are revenues. These are where our sources are. As you can see, I'll look at sales tax. It does fluctuate, and it's starting somewhat to level off. We will experience a decrease in approximately 2 years, I expect. 2, maybe 3, but 2. Well, let's call it 3. Our residential build-out will be finished. We enjoy the sales tax off materials purchased to build that, as well as any other project, whether it be industrial or otherwise. But primarily, the primary driver here has been residential. But as you can see, property tax has grown accordingly. That is to underwrite our operation and maintenance. Next slide. These are expenditures over time since 2021 and to 25-26. Our fire department is a major driver, and those that can, and it's a good thing that we went to a full-time fire department. We got a very young, a 1-year-old full-time paid fire department, and yes, we got our there are items to address, but as we grow, we address those, but it's very difficult to address these things in a step input all at one time, to say, without going up so drastically in our property tax. It is a gradual process, as we have done with roads, water, and sewer, necessities that we must have. Next slide. Water and Sewer Fund. The Water and Sewer Fund is being corrected. As you can see, in 23-24, actually in 22-23, the expenditures and revenues crossed. But we made correction, as the council made corrections. We adopted new water rates and sewer rates. This year we have as part of the proposed budget is to finalize the sewer rate. Last year it was adopted to provide 50% increase on sewer. That was identified by engineering in their studies. This year, out of the budget workshop, it was proposed, and the council seems to agree, and that will have to go through a formal adoption on the 18th of that sewer rate increase to line with the budget. That makes that an enterprise fund with no subsidies from the general fund. Next slide. These are the revenues. Big driver is water, always is. You can see the sewer rate increases. And the miscellaneous above that, which are minor contributors. Next slide. These are expenditures. Water and sewer, are the greatest expenditures. Administration has grown over time, as well as the public works shared expenses. Part of the employees are shared between public works, or actually the water and sewer enterprise fund, their salaries and benefits, all the operation, maintenance, O&M type expenses. Between 50% is supported by water and sewer, and the other 50% of public works is supported by the general fund. Next slide. That's the end of this presentation. Now, from the budget workshop, Marcy, present the changes made with regard to the budget workshop.
In the budget workshop, as the mayor mentioned, the council asked to put in $1.5 million for dependent insurance coverage and salaries, salary increases, and that is reflected in the administration line item of the budget summary page for the general fund. The other change, there was a change the mayor made for police to make a change on that. And then the water and sewer summary page for the anticipated rate increase. The council also looked at the capital projects for the general fund. Excuse me just one moment. Here we go.
Marcy, may I ask, where's that 1.5 million reflected?
I'm sorry?
Where's the 1.5 million reflected on the summary page?
It's been added to the administration budget. The changes in the capital were to add $300,000 for a park master plan and 2 playground areas. Park master plan at $300,000, the 2 playground areas at $500,000. There were no changes to the street improvements. On the other projects, there was a change to remove the farmers market / teaching garden at $2.75 million and replace it with street repair / Hazlet Park for $2 million. And then the ball field improvements was left the same. So the capital projects changed from $6,345,281.05 to $6,395,251.05.
Do you have your budget calendar in front of you? We have other items on that calendar for this evening. Yeah.
We've already presented evaluations and rates at the budget workshop, and we've already approved the proposed tax rate on the floor. And so tonight is just to hold the budget hearing.
All right, so as if you have your calendar here, it's just to those valuations and rates were presented in the workshop. The meeting on the 4th, I believe it was approving the proposed tax rate. Was that on the 4th? And so tonight's purpose is to the public hearing for this budget. At this point, I'll open up the public hearing. At 7:26 p.m. Is there anyone who would like to speak to this budget? Is there anyone online?
There is no one online at this time.
There is no one online. There's no one in the chambers here that wish to speak to this. All right. I close the public hearing at 7:26 p.m. All right, council, discuss, consider an act. The act, any discussion you want, consideration you want. Act will be, you give administration direction to what other analyses or anything, comparisons you would like to see. On the 18th, which is a week from today, is when the budget is adopted. It is that time you make those formal changes to the budget. Cite those, what they are, and the movement of them. I know there are workshop items that went through that you desire to do. It is next Monday where you formalize that in a vote. Please.
Mayor Halsey, I had a question for Ms. Lamb, just for clarity, if you wouldn't mind
Please.
refreshing. In regards to the proposed revenues for the city, why was it again that the line stayed flat and you guys didn't show any increases in the actual suggested projected tax revenues?
The budget that the mayor put together as the budget officer was able to accomplish everything that was in there without raising the rate.
Go ahead.
I think you're missing. So, like in regards to the slide that shows the 10,792,188. So my question was, what projections or what caused the projections to remain flat for just this previous actual year to this year's projected revenue of 10,741,328?
I can answer part of it, is that the projected home construction for this year is less than in previous years. And the home constructions, we take there is approximately 40% of these cost of constructing these homes is taxable. That explains part of it. To go to the sales tax makes up part of that, is that the sales tax, going back to the budget, we did last year, 24-25 budget, we went into that budget at $2.4 million estimated sales tax. That was exceeded by $1 million. It is somewhat of it's a difficult thing to estimate. This year we went in this budget increasing it $1 million prior increase over last year's proposed at $3.5 million. So we did increase that. The property tax is increased by approximately $400,000. And that is a slow add to our budget. It can take up to 2 years once a home is built and turned over to an owner that it hits the tax rolls and the city experiences revenue. Sometimes it can be quicker. Sometimes it can be a year. Marcy can speak a little more to that.
One of the other reasons that the number stayed flat is, as I was speaking before, with the valuations rising, the rates reduce. And the rates are calculated for us by the county tax assessor. And so there's a rate called the no new revenue rate. And the intention of that rate is to keep your dollars basically the same. Now, there is some fluctuation in that sometimes because people protest. There's lawsuits, the court will settle those, and it will affect the final valuation. But for the calculation of the worksheet, that's the goal of that rate. That no new revenue rate, total rate, includes both your M&O piece and your INS piece, your debt piece. And the rate that the mayor put in the proposed budget used the no new revenue M&O piece as a starting point. And so looking at the dollars that would generate when we got the calculations back and the budget he was proposing, since there was pretty limited capital, most of the capital items were things to be carried forward from the current year to the next year. And so it was felt that at that time we could utilize that rate.
And Mayor Halsey, just to dig a little further, if you wouldn't mind, sir, in regards to the development of the homes, what data are we seeing? Is it from the home builders themselves, or are we seeing a reduced request for building permits for homes? Where are we getting the data for the reduction in building of homes?
All the residential developers have what is called takedown schedules, and it's by quarter per year. And at the beginning of all of, and going back to 21, so we could look into the future, one with regard to staffing, et cetera, and expenditures. What could we expect in the way of permits? Permits shot through the roof. Yes, they did, and we had to prepare for that by bringing on third-party reviewers, adding employees to accommodate for that, and that was the purpose of it. But it's uncanny that how these developers, the large developers, have this down to a science, and it's all based on, it goes back and further, is that for a development of some X number of homes, with regard to this is all regard to their financing, they know they have got to sell X number of homes per quarter, per year. And we also track that with regard to permits and the COs. Permit is one thing, CO is, okay, it's occupied now. It's been sold and it's occupied. We track that monthly to determine what, with regard to the takedown schedules, what can happen or what is happening. But it's uncanny that from a quarter per quarter, most all of these subdivisions are within one or two homes of their projection, but it's all tied the minimum of what they have got to sell to meet their financing. All subdivisions are doing well. They're on track. Less the Vines. The Vines has had a challenge, but they have. There have been some changes in builders, et cetera. But they seem to be getting back on more track of what their projection might be. But that's how we do that. is we actually track it. We had all that data. And also in there is the ability to put any kind of construction turn down that may be expected to, say, the national economy. But what we have seen is that North Texas, our area, has been somewhat immune to any of those effects. I would venture to say that North Texas, where we are, because of the logistical operations around us, that is such a huge driver. There are contributors to our economy and what the causes are, how we experience such large growth. Well, two things. One is this very unique inland port operation between Burlington Northern and Santa Fe and the Alliance Airport. It's a very unique operation, one of the most unique in the United States, the major economic engine of the state of Texas, but also a big driver that we were able to see was when the financial industries started moving in on 114, the Schwabs, Ameritrade, those types of industries. That brought professionals and greater than average income levels. And in the immediate area of where those industries are built, the housing choices with what they were desiring weren't matching, I guess, what they were willing to pay, but they found great value here in Haslett, Texas. One, taking in the character of Haslett and the quality of home and the lot size. That was a huge driver. That's what built out much of this. So between those two entities, those were the main drivers that we experienced that caused these developments to stay on track and in some cases exceed their expectations.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
what about the extension of Old Town? I know that's on the map for the land use. Is there anyone that's going to be developing that with the half-acre lots anytime soon? Because that'd be another neighborhood, right?
Yes, and that would be about 50 home sites. There is no proposals on that right now. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Did you have something?
On the other project, on the second page of this little packet right here, on the other projects at the bottom, it says FS, I guess, Fire Station, ball field, parking lot, and field improvements. Does all that money have to go to the fire station, or can some of that money go to the Nance Field to bring that field up to speed? I do know that we're talking about getting a master plan for the fire station fields and the Nance fields, and we didn't want to put in too much money into them because, if things might change. But I was wondering if we could take some of that $1 million and put it towards the Nance fields also, or does that all have to go to the fire station fields?
No, within a fund, and what page are you on?
The second page here at the bottom.
Okay. Within this fund, and Marcy can comment on that, you can move the money around.
Okay.
So, yes, here it says ball field parking and field improvements, $1 million. Okay, well, you know what? Maybe we need half of that.
Mm-hmm.
And, okay, that can be put over at Nance Field or the community center or community park.
Okay.
So that can be moved, and that's not a budget amendment. A budget amendments can only occur under emergency situations.
That kind of goes with my question. So it's okay to leave it designated firehouse station or firehouse fields, even though it might not go all to that? Because my other question was, we had talked about that street repair, that it wasn't designated Haslett Park. We were going to see if Brentwood or Haslett Park was what met the budget for street repair. So if we have Haslett Park written there, does that restrict us to only using it for Haslett Park if Brentwood's the one that needs it?
Okay, and again, repeat your question.
So on
You
to
have
his.
two questions. What's the first one?
Well, I'm on to his. If we have it designated Haslett Park, other projects, and designated firehouse fields, ball field parking, do we have to use the monies for that specifically?
Oh, are you talking about the Haslett Park stormwater project?
No, right below that, street repair / Haslett Park.
Oh,
We had actually just,
$2 million.
we had discussed in the workshop that that it might be Brentwood if Brentwood was the one that fit the,
It does
the funding
not
better.
have to be used. Engineering has provided us one. There's an email he sent today, in fact, this
Thank you.
evening. But nonetheless, there are a detailed budget that engineering has.
if we approve this, I'm just saying, if we approve it, doesn't lock us into using it for
No, it
Haslett
does
Park
not
or
lock you
for Firehouse
in
Fields.
to
Okay.
Haslett Park. It
Perfect.
could be used over at Brentwood.
Okay.
It could be used in the meadow.
As long as it's street repair or ball
That's
field,
right.
field park. Thank you, that was my question.
All right, and you had a second question?
I have lots of questions, I don't know if you want to go.
No, I just. You answered my question. I just want to make sure that could be used for Nance also, so I just want to clarify since it didn't say it on there.
Marcy, you want to make any comment about the movement of money within a given fund?
As long as you're within the fund, you're good. You can rename it, you can reallocate the dollars, whatever you prefer.
Another question, if it's not, so what exactly is the public approving tonight? Is it the budget that's online? Is it the budget that we have with the changes? What are they actually approving?
The public is not approving anything.
It's just a public hearing for them to speak?
It's a public hearing, and they make comments for the council to listen to.
Okay.
Their comments and concerns,
Perfect, so it's not, okay, that was my other
or
question.
adulations, or whatever it may be.
Anything, okay. So I just wanted to look, make sure I have this correct. I'm looking at the general fund overall budget summary. So I see where the 1.5 changed. Can you give me a little more context on the policing increase of about 20,000?
In the budget workshop, I had noted that, okay, the policing generally had a track record over time. They increase 4 to 5% every year over year, because they give their employees increases in cost of benefits, et cetera. That's all passed through to the municipality. That, I noticed, was in error based on what was shown was only at 2%. So we changed that to 4%, and that's the increase that you see.
It didn't go up very much, I was just, okay, that makes sense, thank you. And then the 1.5, just to make sure, that is pay increase and benefits. So that does include the benefits piece that's going to come later when it's time to look at those. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Mayor Halsey, I had one more thing to add to that. And remember too, when we were discussing the benefits, you were going to drill down and get a more exact number, because we were going to request a stipulation that if they wanted to include a spouse or family, if they had insurance, they had to take their employment insurance, and we're going to see which ones actually needed the spousal. So that number, again, was a projection, correct? That's not, it could come in at less and significantly less than that, depending on what happens from the health department and health insurance and such.
And Marcy did do that. And what was your finding?
I did a worst-case scenario that based on a count of 50 employees. We're not quite there yet, but if we fill all of our authorized positions, we'll be close. So right now we have two different plans we offer. One is an HSA plan and the other one's a PPO plan. And if the PPO plan has better coverage, the HSA has higher deductibles. The HSA is actually more expensive than the PPO, but the PPO actually has better coverage. So based on if everyone selected the PPO, to put all 50 employees and their spouse, if they're married, it would be an additional $666,000. Then the next tier is the 50 employees and children, which does not include the spouse. That would add that would be the same difference, $666,000. If it was 50 people plus their entire family, spouse, and children, it would increase $1,332,000. On the HSA, if there's 50 plus the spouse, it adds $545,214. If you have the spouse and children, that would be a $545,214 increase. If you do full family for 50, it would increase $1,635,642.
I think the basic question was, and in the workshop, the spouse.
Okay.
So employee and spouse, it was estimated at $500,000 for that benefit. What Marcy found, it is 600 under that scenario. It's 600 and how much?
$666,042.
So it's another 160 some odd thousand dollars.
And that would be for 100% of employees to be covered with all of that, correct? Which is obviously not a realistic scenario per se.
Just worst case scenario.
And then just for my own curiosity, what was the deductible on those plans for the health insurance?
Hang on just one second.
And the co-insurance, if you had that available as well.
Okay.
Particularly just for the PPO plan, I'm not too worried about the HSA.
Okay, yes. And that number I gave you was just the health insurance. It did not include vision and dental yet. So, let's see.
I'm sure our vision and dental are just as great as the rest of the world's vision and dental, which is not very great.
Okay, so the PPO, the deductibles in network, $1,350 for the individual, $4,050 for the family, and the non-network is $2,700 individual and $8,100 for the family. The out-of-pocket is $1,350 individual and $4,050 family for in-network. The co-insurance in-network is 100%, non-network is 80%.
That's really good. That really is good coverage.
Yes.
100% co-insurance. Once you hit your deductible of $1,350, the insurance picks up 100% of everything else. Like that's great insurance. Good.
If
Good.
office visits, copay is $30.
Good. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that.
Go ahead.
So I also had a question just to clarify on the water and sewer overall budget summary. The reason for that increase from 2.6 million to basically 2.8 is because we did discuss raising that fee
I believe it was $8 and some odd, $8.41.
for the
I
sewer.
believe
So
it
that's
was
what
per
makes
month.
that go up.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask? We also talked about in the budget conversation adding a line item or amount of money for crossing guards. Is that still in here as well?
Yes.
Or okay, and can I see, I don't know exactly
Excuse
where it
me.
is.
It's not in there yet. We're from the provider that manages and provides crossing guards is submitting, and it should be here tomorrow, that number, and that will go in the budget that you see on the 18th. And we'll make note of it, and we'll send you an email out what that is. But I expect it to be in the neighborhood of $50,000 annually.
Okay, thank you.
And while we're talking about that, I got 3 points. You were going to send me very specifically some intersection.
I did.
I have to have that.
I sent it to you that night, and you wrote back, that's the one you already had.
I had to, it showed 3 of them, 2 in Sedera or Latera.
The one at Worthington, you replied back to me that that's the one you had, so we want to make sure that's correct.
There's 2 streets that go all the way to Worthington.
Ms. Childress only said that one intersection's all she needed, is the one that I sent you. You're saying there's another one you think?
So there's 2.
Okay.
And the consultant recommended that as well. And then one in Ashmore Farms. If you have I need a very specific, if you can do a Google map, circle it and say this, and I can respond, yes, this is included, no, it's not, we can add it. If, while we're on that and speaking with the provider, now this provider is the same one that provides all the school crossing guards for the city of Fort Worth, which provides all the school crossing guards. The city of Fort Worth pays for the cities pay for school crossing guards. School districts don't. And within NISD or all those schools within the city of Fort Worth, that's the provider. So we are using that same provider.
How many do you have currently on the list?
How many
many
crossing guard
guards?
locations? 3.
3, okay. So you've got one in Ashmore Farms,
Right.
and you've got
2.
2 on John Day.
2 on John Day.
So you need the 2 for Hazlet Elementary from me. Is that right?
Circle it and identify it.
Yes, sir. Okay.
And
I'll
I
do
need that tomorrow.
I'll do it tomorrow.
That kind of goes back to my other question. If there's items that need to be added, so the 18th, it could be the time to, can you add them still on the 18th? Or once the 18th is there, it's like we have to approve, like say, make a motion to approve the agenda with this change, or the budget with this change? Okay, so you can say it like that.
Yes.
Okay.
So any changes that you have, you make that motion at that meeting and you vote on them. If each of you have different changes, then you'll each make your own motion and the council will vote on each one.
Mayor,
Yes.
I was just going to point out for those that are new on the council that we do approve the budget through an ordinance. And so to attach, there will be an attachment to that ordinance that is just a summary of each fund. It's not this whole big book that's attached. It'll have by each fund, and it'll just show what the proposed new year will be for those funds. And that is an attachment that goes with the ordinance. So if you make any changes that night, then that attachment will be revised. The wording in the ordinance just basically says you're approving the 25-26 budget, and there won't be any changes in the wording to the ordinance.
I just have a question.
We'll just say, Mr. Mayor.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. So Mr. Rogers went out to Haslett Park and Brentwood, and if I'm reading this correctly, he observed that we need to wait a couple of years to redo these roads.
No, they can't. I mean, they are not immediate needs.
They're not immediate needs.
That's what he's saying. and they were already planned in those coming budget years.
Okay. I don't ever go down Brentwood. I mean, I've driven through the circle a few times since I've lived here, but don't go there regularly, but I go through all the streets of my neighborhood all the time, and they are in desperate need. And I feel like that if you ask the people in our neighborhood, they don't want to wait until 28, 29 to repair those. So I know Mr. Rogers says that could probably wait, but
Well, actually, it's Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson, sorry.
The
yes,
city engineer.
Mr. Anderson, sorry, I saw David Rogers up here. Mr. Anderson said we could wait, but I don't think the people in our neighborhood would appreciate if we waited 4 more years. So I'd like to get that done.
And I want to ask, it's saying that that Mr. Anderson actually thinks Brentwood is in worse condition, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Of the two
Of
projects.
the two, right.
Brentwood is the higher priority. Now, we have in separate line items repairs that have to be done this year. But the entire project that addresses all that roadway through there needs to be all taken out. It was all done with no rebar, which was a huge mistake. The drainage, was not improved in that project. It was made worse. And instead of being maybe 18 inches deep, some places are 3 foot deep, and they're non-maintainable. So that project with Brentwood would remedy all of that, and instead of going into with concrete, it would be asphalt. That's a low traffic area. And we can go in with a high quality asphalt roadway.
So, I didn't think we did asphalt anywhere in the city. So we can
absolutely.
We can if we choose to for the
Absolutely,
streets?
we do, yeah.
I don't know why. So this, okay. But we can leave this street repair in the proposed budget as another project. We can see the cost for asphalt and concrete for Brentwood and we'll get more information in Hassett Park and then go from there. Correct? You're saying, you said something about other street projects. Do you mean the one above those, of street improvements?
The,
I think you were saying other projects could be like Ashmore Farms if they had other projects.
I was using an example.
Oh, okay.
I was using an example.
But these street improvements
Because you keep
are-
it in this fund. Well, we can change the name of that, what the project is. That money's still in this fund.
I'm glad he was able to go out so quickly and get, observe the condition and get a recommendation, so I look forward to that.
Mayor, I just chime in on that. I think what they've all discussed on the roads, we need some repairs, we need something. I see Mike Anderson's response, but look at it, if you map out these budget years, okay, repair Hassett Park, in 4 years, we will be on Caliche roads in 4 years. I mean, at the rate they're deteriorating, it's going to get that way. I know Brentwood is deteriorating. We've repaired some patches over there, but it deteriorated first and fastest, but Hassett Park is getting that way. Like several said, we drive on those, I personally drive on them every day. And I can see it, and it's worse. Once we get into wintertime, that's when we're going to see it happen the most. When those cracks, they'll start gathering water and freezing and doing the expansion and contraction, that's when we see things change the most. Then we get into August and we see the ground shrink below it, and you get ground shrinkage. So, I mean, we all know, we've all lived here. That's the nature of this, the black soil we live in, the clay that we live in. It's
Understood.
a huge spun. But anyway, let's tack on to that. So, and one other thing, Marcy they touched on it, I think, already, and just for clarification, for my sake, on the Department of Administration, on the 1.5 million. So that would, if you look at in the pages to follow in the backup details, I guess, on the first account, which would be 0160100101 in salary, I guess that's where the 1.5 would be. I'll let you get there and get caught up.
And what page are you on?
It'd be page 9. Page 9.
So I guess it'd basically replace that 48,680. Is that where it would fall if we looked at the details? So I'd go from 48,680 to 1.5 million.
Go from 143,680 to 1,643.
Yeah, but that, okay, that's the bucket of goods. Okay, thank you.
And just a reminder that the current budget does include 6% increase for employees as it was proposed.
Yeah, we did, yeah, we talked, because originally it was 2%, they said they added 4% to it. Okay.
All right, it was originally 4%, and then in this page that you were just on, we added another 2%.
Okay, thank you. I did it backwards then.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But this 1.5 is additional to that, correct?
The what?
The
1.5 is on top of all of that.
And that does, I guess, what we had talked about at the budget workshop as well, no tiered raising or year by year. It's just a one-time
Correct.
move up. Okay. Okay, thank you.
And then, Mr. Mayor, to confirm on the health insurance, was that the city paying 100%, or was that still a split cost with the employee to the city?
That was the city paying 100%.
Okay, so that would be the employees no longer get a deduction for that out of there.
Correct.
Okay, great, thank you.
And then you said that it would be an increase in tax rate of 24%. Does that push us over the 7.9?
7.9, absolutely. It's 7.9 times 3. 7.9, actually it's 8. 8% increase yields $500,000. I think maybe about $6 short, $7 short of $500,000. Marcy has that, so it'd be 3 times that.
Okay.
So a 24%, and that would be a mandatory vote.
Anything over 8% increase is a mandatory vote.
By the citizens?
Right.
Yes, between 8% and the de minimis rate, which we are able to calculate because we're a city under $30,000, and that is the rate that would allow you to raise $500,000.
But you
And
need to,
but you would,
according to the tax code,
according
what can be done with the tax rate now, between now and when this budget's adopted.
The council has already voted on the proposed tax rate of 0.31545, and they could reduce that, but they cannot increase it for this year.
Because that would gets us to 8%, right?
No, that's at the no new revenue M&O rate that the mayor proposed.
Okay.
That was
Great.
what,
So just, I want to repeat that one time. So since we set that rate at our last meeting of 3.1545, we cannot, on the 18th, when it said, or on our budget calendar where it says adopt tax rate,
It has-
increase it. It could only go down, not up.
Yes.
Okay, and the other question, I guess, to make sure I'm looking at this correctly, and I know I saw the graph, but we did go from 121% fund balance to an 88, we're still at 88.6. Is that correct, my numbers? Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions? Anything you would like to analyze between now and next Monday? If you think of something, send Marcy and I an email, and we'll do that. Yes, sir.
Mayor, and this goes back to the presentation side. If we want to pull that, because if that's going to be shown on, next Monday at the next council meeting, on the water and wastewater, the revenue and the expenditures, on the revenue, it's showing at 9145, but I think that should show 9335476. Because I think that should
To show the increase.
show the increase on that.
Yes, sir, you're correct, and we'll correct that.
Okay.
If,
Thank you.
so it is going to be shown, there were some, I was looking at last year's versus this year's, and there's some numbers that didn't match directly.
If you'll get with me and show me those, circle them.
Sure will. And it'll be updated on the web, the new, what we discussed and added today will be updated on the website? Or will that just stay there until we actually adopt a budget officially?
The budget, when it's adopted, it'll be published
Okay.
on the
With the
website.
correction, okay. Thank you.
And if you found any errors in the numbers on the graphs, please circle them, and we'll get those corrected.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
this doesn't have to go with what's pertaining to this, I don't think, well, it doesn't, but we send in those name tag badges. Did we decide to go with one, or what was the verdict on that?
They're being ordered,
Okay.
and the color selected is gold. Gold.
Thank you.
All right, is there any more discussion with regarding this budget and the budget hearing? Just understand, please be prepared for Monday night, a week from now. Any changes you want to make from the proposed budget is they are motioned, seconded, and you vote on them, each one. That changes the budget. If there,
Is there any action over this item, or?
no, it would just, this was just, if you had some other items you want us to analyze or provide you feedback on, that would be for that. And if you have a question during the week, email it, please, and send that to Ms. Lamb and I. If there's no more discussion, we would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mayor Halsey, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Motion's made to adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There is a second. All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you, council.
These three, I circled them, they did not match.